Have you ever stopped to think that, even though we all live on the same planet, there are places so extraordinary they seem to belong to another world? Landscapes that defy logic, natural phenomena that scientists are still trying to understand, and breathtaking scenery so unbelievable that, if you only saw a photo, you would probably assume it was created by artificial intelligence. The truth, however, is even more astonishing. Every one of these places is real, hidden in different corners of the Earth, and each one tells a story capable of changing the way we see our own planet. Throughout this video, you will discover landscapes so remarkable that it will be difficult to believe they actually exist. And rest assured, the final destination on our list is so extraordinary that it will make anyone question the true limits of nature. Tre Cime di Lavaredo Nature Park. In northeastern Italy, between the provinces of Belluno and Bolzano, three enormous rock towers rise above the alpine meadows, as if they had been carved by a force far older than any civilization. Although they are internationally known as a single landmark, each peak has its own identity: Cima Grande, Cima Ovest, and Cima Piccola. Together, they create one of the most recognizable landscapes in the Dolomites, a mountain range designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of its geological significance and exceptional natural beauty. The first impression is usually one of sheer verticality. Unlike many mountain ranges where sharp peaks are connected by long ridgelines, the Tre Cime rise almost abruptly from the surrounding landscape. Their limestone cliffs climb hundreds of feet, nearly straight upward, revealing layers of rock that preserve millions of years of Earth's history. This monumental appearance did not happen by chance. Around 250 million years ago, the entire region lay beneath a shallow tropical sea. On the floor of that ancient ocean, marine organisms deposited sediments rich in calcium carbonate that gradually formed the limestone structures that now dominate the Dolomites. Over tens of millions of years, tectonic forces lifted these ancient marine deposits to elevations of several thousand feet above sea level. Then came an even slower, but equally powerful process: erosion. Wind, ice, snow, rain, and extreme temperature changes gradually wore away the weaker portions of the mountains, leaving behind only the most resistant rock formations. The result is a landscape that appears carefully designed, even though it was shaped entirely by natural forces. Tre Cime Nature Park protects one of the most valuable areas of the Dolomites. Its territory includes an extraordinary variety of alpine environments, featuring flower-filled meadows during the summer, dense conifer forests, high-altitude grasslands, glacial lakes, and towering cliffs that are almost completely devoid of vegetation. During the First World War, the region's tranquility was completely shattered. Between 1915 and 1917, the Tre Cime became part of the front line between the Italian and Austro-Hungarian armies. Soldiers spent months living under extreme conditions, carving tunnels into solid rock, building trenches at high elevations, and transporting supplies across incredibly difficult terrain. The old military tunnels, rock-cut galleries, and defensive positions have since become remarkable open-air museums. This unique combination of breathtaking scenery and historical memory gives the region a significance that extends far beyond traditional tourism. Kirkjufellsfoss Waterfall. On Iceland's western coast, on the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, lies a landscape that perfectly captures the essence of Icelandic nature. Although Kirkjufellsfoss is relatively small compared to many of the country's other waterfalls, it has gained worldwide fame thanks to its spectacular location directly in front of Mount Kirkjufell. Together, they create such a perfectly balanced natural composition that the site has become one of Iceland's most photographed destinations, appearing on postcards, tourism campaigns, books, and film productions. Kirkjufellsfoss is located near the small fishing town of Grundarfjörður, a community surrounded by fjords, lava fields, mountains, and vast expanses of moss-covered terrain. The river that feeds the waterfall begins in the higher elevations of the peninsula, collecting water from melting snow, frequent rainfall, and small underground springs. Before reaching the ocean, it flows across gently sloping terrain until it reaches a series of rocky steps, where the water splits into several channels, creating a succession of small cascades that together form Kirkjufellsfoss. Unlike many famous waterfalls that impress mainly because of their height, Kirkjufellsfoss captivates visitors through the elegance of its structure. The water flows over several levels, creating a broad and graceful cascade in which every drop contributes to a continuous movement. This unique shape makes the flow appear to change constantly. In some places, the current accelerates across dark volcanic rock. In others, it spreads into delicate white curtains before gathering its full strength again just a few feet downstream. Much of the location's visual identity comes from the mountain dominating the horizon. Kirkjufell, whose name means Church Mountain, rises approximately 1,520 feet above sea level and has an unusually distinctive shape. Its triangular profile resembles a church steeple or towering spire, standing almost alone against the surrounding landscape. The combination of this extraordinary mountain with the waterfall positioned directly in front of it creates a perspective that many consider one of the most perfect natural compositions on Earth. Yosemite National Park. Located in the central Sierra Nevada of California, in the western United States, this protected landscape covers approximately 1,160 square miles of mountains, forests, rivers, canyons, and alpine meadows. Despite its vast size, Yosemite Valley is the park's most internationally recognized feature. Surrounded by towering granite cliffs and carved by the Merced River, the valley has become one of the world's most iconic landscapes, attracting millions of visitors every year while playing a pivotal role in the birth of the modern conservation movement. Among all the park's geological formations, perhaps none is more famous than El Capitan. This massive granite monolith rises nearly 3,000 feet above the valley floor, forming one of the largest exposed rock faces on Earth. Another giant dominates the skyline throughout much of the park, Half Dome. Unlike a conventional mountain, its appearance is striking because one side seems to have been sliced away by a colossal blade, leaving behind an enormous smooth granite face. Rivers fed by snowmelt flow through the park year-round, creating an extraordinary collection of waterfalls. At elevations above 10,000 feet, alpine plateaus, crystal-clear lakes and meadows covered with wildflowers emerge during the brief summer season. In these high-elevation environments, the landscape changes dramatically. Temperatures remain cold throughout much of the year, vegetation becomes increasingly sparse, and human presence declines significantly. The silence is often broken only by the wind or the distant sound of water flowing between massive granite boulders. Yosemite's biodiversity is just as remarkable as its geology. More than 400 species of vertebrates live within the park's boundaries, occupying a wide variety of habitats. For many years, wildfires were viewed simply as a threat to the park. Today, scientific research has shown that fire is an essential part of this ecosystem's natural cycle. Many plant species rely on periodic fires to remove excess organic material, recycle nutrients, and even open pine cones that release their seeds only when exposed to intense heat. For this reason, park management teams carry out controlled prescribed burns in selected areas, reducing the risk of far more destructive wildfires during periods of extreme drought. Fjaðrárgljúfur Canyon. In southern Iceland lies a canyon that seems to defy the ordinary scale of natural landscapes. Fjaðrárgljúfur is not famous for continental-sized dimensions or towering cliffs that break height records. Instead, its beauty comes from the way nature patiently sculpted every curve, every ledge, and every layer of rock over thousands of years. The result is a winding canyon stretching approximately 1 1/4 miles, where towering cliffs blanketed in thick green moss embrace a crystal-clear river that quietly winds along the valley floor. Viewed from above, the formation resembles an enormous green ribbon draped across Iceland's volcanic terrain. The name Fjaðrárgljúfur may sound challenging to those unfamiliar with the Icelandic language, but its meaning is surprisingly straightforward. Gljúfur means canyon or gorge, while Fjaðra is the river that flows through the entire formation. Even many visitors need practice to pronounce it correctly, but that challenge quickly becomes insignificant once the landscape comes into view. Here, words become secondary to the overwhelming beauty of the scenery. Unlike many canyons carved primarily through sedimentary rock, this one was sculpted into volcanic materials left behind by ancient eruptions. Layers of hardened volcanic ash, lava fragments, and glacial sediments make up the canyon walls. This unique composition gives them a distinctive appearance, featuring smooth surfaces, rounded contours, and numerous natural cavities that collect rainwater and support lush vegetation. In some sections, the canyon walls rise more than 300 feet above the river below. Despite their impressive height, they rarely form perfectly vertical cliffs. Continuous erosion caused by water, ice, and dramatic temperature fluctuations has shaped graceful, curved slopes that appear almost hand-carved. From certain viewpoints, the landscape feels surprisingly organic, as though the terrain itself were still slowly flowing. The Fjaðra River continues to perform the same work it began thousands of years ago. Although its current is relatively gentle for much of the year, the river still carries tiny mineral particles that gradually continue reshaping the canyon floor. During periods of heavy snowmelt or after intense rainfall, the current becomes significantly stronger, reinforcing the erosion process that has never truly stopped. Before we explore one of the most unbelievable places on our list, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll be the first to know whenever we publish a brand new video. Monument Valley, Arizona. On one hand, It is unquestionably part of the real world, with highways, dust, powerful winds, and extreme temperatures. On the other, it feels as though it belongs inside a work of imagination. Massive sandstone buttes rise in isolation across a vast red desert plain, creating a skyline instantly recognizable almost anywhere in the world. Surprisingly, despite its global fame, Monument Valley is not a United States national park. Instead, the region belongs to the Navajo Nation, which manages the land according to its own traditions and laws, preserving not only the extraordinary landscape, but also the cultural identity of a people who have lived there for centuries before European settlers arrived. Its location also contributes to its almost mythical atmosphere. The valley sits along the border between Arizona and Utah, within the Navajo Nation reservation, in one of the most remote parts of the American Southwest. The sense of isolation is an essential part of the experience. For miles, the highway crosses what appears to be an endless desert before enormous rock formations slowly begin to emerge on the horizon. It is a gradual, almost cinematic introduction, as though the landscape reveals its grandeur, one scene at a time. That unforgettable approach is one reason why so many travelers describe arriving at Monument Valley as one of the defining moments of any journey through the American West. The origins of these gigantic rock formations date back hundreds of millions of years. Long before deserts, dinosaurs, or humans existed, the region was covered by shallow seas, rivers, and broad sedimentary plains. Layer upon layer of sand, mud, and minerals accumulated over immense spans of geological time before eventually becoming thick sandstone formations. Then came a much slower and more patient force: erosion. Over tens of millions of years, rain, wind, dramatic temperature changes, and natural weathering gradually removed vast amounts of surrounding rock, leaving behind only the most resistant formations. The result is a spectacular collection of mesas, buttes, and sandstone spires that appear to have been carefully sculpted, even though they are entirely the work of nature. The name Monument Valley perfectly captures the impression these formations leave behind. Many rise more than 1,000 feet above the desert floor, standing like enormous natural monuments scattered across the landscape. Some have become internationally famous, including West Mitten Butte, East Mitten Butte, and Merrick Butte. The first two resemble oversized winter mittens, which is exactly how they earned their names. Depending on the position of the sun, their outlines change dramatically throughout the day, revealing new shadows, fractures, and shades of red that make the same landscape appear completely different from one hour to the next. Samet Nangshe. From the top of a hillside covered in lush tropical vegetation, the view stretches across dozens of towering limestone formations rising from the waters of Panga Bay. Depending on the time of day, the scenery can appear completely transformed. At times, the islands emerge through a delicate veil of mist. At others, the ocean reflects the sky so perfectly that the boundary between water and horizon almost disappears. It is a landscape shaped by nature over millions of years, yet it feels more like a masterpiece, carefully painted by hand. Samet Nangshe is located in Phang Nga Province, along Thailand's southwestern coast, approximately 25 miles north of the famous island of Phuket. Although the surrounding region welcomes millions of visitors each year, this scenic overlook remained relatively unknown for a long time. Before the rise of social media and the explosion of photography tourism, few travelers made the journey to the mountaintop. Today, it has become one of Thailand's most admired panoramic viewpoints, while still retaining much of the peaceful atmosphere that has always defined the area. At first glance, it is difficult to imagine that this remarkable landscape began forming long before the continents reached their present-day positions. The islands scattered across the bay are part of an enormous limestone formation created from ancient marine deposits. Viewed from above, Phang Nga Bay has an almost surreal appearance. Unlike many coastal regions where islands follow continuous mountain ridges, each limestone tower here seems to stand entirely on its own. Some rise hundreds of feet above the sea with nearly vertical cliffs, while others are small rocky outcrops covered in dense tropical vegetation. Between them, narrow channels allow seawater carried by the tides of the Andaman Sea to flow continuously through the bay. The rhythm of the tides dramatically transforms the appearance of the landscape throughout the day. As the water rises, many areas become completely submerged, hiding sandbars and small beaches beneath the surface. At low tide, shallow channels, mangrove forests, and broad stretches of sediment emerge, completely reshaping the outline of the bay. This constant cycle creates a landscape that is always changing, ensuring that no two visits are ever exactly the same. The vegetation surrounding the viewpoint belongs to the tropical ecosystem typical of southern Thailand. Large trees, bamboo groves, palm trees, ferns, and countless plant species adapted to the region's hot, humid climate blanket, the mountainside. During certain times of the year, wildflowers bloom among the greenery, attracting insects, birds, and small mammals native to the area. Tumpak Sewu Waterfall. Some landscapes impress because of their sheer size, while others captivate by challenging the way we perceive the natural world. Tumpak Sewu Waterfall belongs to an even rarer category. Places so extraordinary that every familiar comparison seems inadequate. Instead of a single column of water plunging from a cliff, visitors are greeted by an enormous circular wall of rock covered in lush vegetation, where countless streams cascade downward simultaneously. Located in East Java Province, Indonesia, Tumpak Sewu lies within a region shaped by the intense geological activity of the Pacific Ring of Fire. This immense volcanic belt contains hundreds of active volcanoes and exists because of the ongoing collision of tectonic plates that continue to reshape Asia's landscape to this day. These powerful underground forces explain why the island of Java is home to steep mountains, deep valleys, fast-flowing rivers, and some of Southeast Asia's most dramatic scenery. The waterfall's very name reveals much about its appearance. In the Javanese language, Tumpak Sewu means something close to 1,000 waterfalls. The expression should not be interpreted literally, but rather as a poetic description of the countless streams flowing down the canyon walls. Depending on the season and the intensity of the rainfall, new streams appear temporarily while others diminish, ensuring that the waterfall never looks exactly the same from one day to the next. This spectacular landscape began forming hundreds of thousands of years ago, when successive volcanic eruptions blanketed the region with thick layers of ash, lava, and fragmented rock. Mount Semeru, which dominates the nearby skyline, played a crucial role in this process. Recognized as the tallest volcano on the island of Java and one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes, it continues to eject volcanic material on a regular basis, reminding visitors that the landscape remains under constant transformation. Viewed from the main overlook, the immense scale of the scenery becomes immediately apparent. The canyon's circular opening provides an almost complete view of the entire waterfall at once. At its center, a powerful main cascade commands attention, while countless smaller streams descend along the surrounding cliffs at different speeds. Some flow in long, uninterrupted ribbons, while others leap across natural rock ledges before reaching the valley floor. This remarkable variety ensures that your eyes are constantly drawn from one section of the landscape to another. Although Tumpak Sewu is primarily known as an ecotourism destination, the surrounding area is home to rural communities that have maintained agricultural traditions for generations. Coffee, rice, bananas, and a wide variety of vegetables are cultivated on the mountainsides surrounding the valley. The soil, enriched by volcanic minerals, offers exceptional fertility, a characteristic shared by many regions located near active volcanoes around the world. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Before you go, be sure to check out another video we've prepared especially for you. Just click the icon that's now appearing on your screen.